the desert of the real.
Welcome to the desert of the real. That was my game show host voice, I guess.
That was good.
Okay, thanks. I'm your host, Jason Dietz. Joined with me is the con artist,
Ryan Hudson.
The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where usually I'm forced to watch big blockbuster movies that I think are stupid. But every so often we get to watch a great movie like now, which we are currently going to discuss, Matchstick Men. So we are two English language arts high school teachers with graduate degrees, and we attempt to use our academic training to dip deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, film studies, and ethics in our films, and we push our listeners, that's you, to think critically about their entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. Last week's monologue. What?
You have a Pink Floyd sticker that says "Have a cigar."
Yeah, that's one of their songs.
Wow.
That you would know
That's
if
what-
you had any culture. at
What
all.
messages are you telling your students?
Listen to that song.
Go
and
have
you
a
can-
cigar, students.
No, that's not what that song's about at all.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's on my favorite album.
Mm.
You better leave all this Pink Floyd talk in.
I will.
Pink Floyd is the greatest group.
Yeah,
of
Jason,
musicians.
he put a bunch
of all
of
time.
Pink Floyd stickers on my desk. And I could take them off, but they are also nice stickers.
Yeah,
Like,
they
the
are nice.
quality of stickers are nice
I
that I
bought
left them
them.
on.
Nice
I
for
personally
you.
don't care for Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
for being honest.
I think they have medication for that.
It's called
It's
The Beatles, woo, where we can listen to music that actually makes you feel happy and music you can sing along
Music
to
that repeats
and
itself
dance
over and over.
and inspire
Na,
millions, you know, that type of stuff.
na, 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 na. For 15 minutes.
Anyway,
Anyhow,
thank you for
talk
listening.
about creativity. Come on, Beatles.
The fact that you're here and listening to us talk means a lot to us.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we do this because we like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We like talking movies. We like talking to you about movies. And it means a lot that you make time in your day.
Yeah, it does. We'd love to hear back from you, like a dialogue, but currently, you know, we're just...
Yeah, actually,
We're dialoguing, but we're not dialoguing with you.
we are about to step into the sequel trilogy. So if you have thoughts about the sequel trilogy, good or bad, send us an email at desertofthereelpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. But we're not talking about Star Wars today.
And I try to sneak it in because I love
well,
Star Wars.
We're not doing that. Today's good movie day.
This is a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're watching The Matchstick Men from 2003, is it?
Yeah, it's an oldie.
Directed by Ridley Scott. So, what are your thoughts on Ridley Scott?
He made some of my favorite movies of all time, actually.
Ridley Scott's kind of a conundrum to a degree because he's
He's
one
a hit and misser.
he's one of the greats that's made like some of the most iconic movies in history, but he's also made movies I guarantee you've never heard of.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I kind of wanted to go through a little bit of his filmography, where blah blah blah. I think his first movie, actually Alien, is he's got movies actually. He directed TV and some shorts, but Alien, it looks like, is his first one. Then he follows it up 4 years later with Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. So far, so good. He directed the
So far, so good. So far, so great.
Yeah, he directed the 1984 Apple commercial, which I just learned.
Oh,
With a lady
one of the most famous commercials of all time.
Then he did Legend. Now, Legend
pretty
is
okay.
a cult classic.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty
Tom
okay.
Cruise. And anyway, commercials. Someone to Watch Over Me, Black Rain. Now, I don't know about those.
Yeah,
I don't know
I've
anything
never
about
heard of
those.
them.
But Thelma and Louise, now we're back at movies that people
Have heard of.
like a lot. Okay, this is one I've never heard of. 1492, Conquest of Paradise.
I have heard of that. I actually have the soundtrack for that, but I've never seen the movie.
I've never seen. I don't know anything about it, but Sigourney Weaver's in this thing. And,
The soundtrack's magnificent.
I mean, and then a couple movies that you might not be familiar with: White Squall,
Yeah, no.
G.I. Jane. I only know
I've seen G.I. Jane.
what it like. I know the poster of it.
G.I. Jane's not terrible.
And here we get to Gladiator,
Uh-huh.
Hannibal, which I admittedly have not seen Hannibal.
Hannibal's really good.
Then Black Hawk Down, and
Really
then
good.
this movie. He's cranking out movies.
See, he's a pretty consistent, amazing movie maker.
Yeah, I think from here on out, actually since basically 96, it's either every year or every other year, it looks like. Matchstick Men, and then we have Kingdom of Heaven, which I like a lot. I just rewatched that. I think people want it to be Gladiator. It's also got some issues, but the director's cut is the one that I watched, and I remember like, hey, this one's pretty good. Also, the first rated R movie I ever saw.
Oh.
A movie called A Good Year with Russell Crowe, American Gangster, Body of Lies, Robin Hood, Prometheus, The Counselor, which is bananas, by the way. Did you see Exodus? But The Martian, good.
Martian is really good.
Alien Covenant, I didn't appreciate it at the time. And then he's making movies. All the Money in the World, The Last Duel, House of Gucci, Napoleon, and Gladiator 2. That's his filmography.
Yeah.
So he's got, like I said, iconic movies. And then movies you've either never heard of or have never seen.
Yeah.
But he is truly one of the greats.
Yeah. I don't think this movie is an exception to that statement, I think.
But this movie, Matchstick Men, I knew nothing going in. I knew what the poster looked like.
Yeah,
I knew
purposefully
Nicolas
I didn't tell you
Cage
anything.
and Sam Rockwell, they were in it. That's all I knew. And they're just standing on the poster.
Yep.
So this movie took me on a journey of, oh, this is kind of like a character analysis about this guy. Oh, he's a con man. That's a kind of a parenting movie. And then it's, I mean, I guess we won't spoil it yet. We'll spoil it in just a second. He's a con man with his partner. He finds out he's got a 14-year-old daughter, and now his life has changed.
Yeah.
Does he include her in the cons, or is he trying to become a father? That's the movie. So the spoiler,
With the exception of
other
the whole
stuff.
point of the movie, and then you go back. Yeah. Anyhow, go ahead.
Anyway,
The spoiler. Are you gonna give this?
all right.
Well, just start with what did you like?
Okay, in the first act of the movie, he's really using a lot of. He's purposely, maybe overdoing it with filmmaking tools like the color saturation and edits and even music. Because when they're at that house where they're conning those two old people,
Yeah.
and they open the door and the color is just in your face type of thing. But it highlights
His disability.
right. And then there's a lot of edits that make it, I guess, arguably kind of like music video, just distinct in your face edits. So he's really pushing stuff, but then it kind of dies down, I thought.
Right, I think it was being pushed to establish that Nicolas Cage's character has Tourette's. He's got OCD and various other things.
Yeah.
Once we've got it, then we don't need it anymore.
I think
actually,
that's an accurate read. I think.
That was a huge pro for me because, Nicolas Cage does play it, and we could pick it up from how he reacts and what he does.
Yeah.
But I think Ridley Scott goes one step further and uses, the film itself and how he's presenting it to reinforce this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a big strength.
And I think I was reading a couple of reviews of this movie, and apparently this movie has a reputation for just being on cable at all times.
Oh, really?
No matter what, you can find Matchstick Men on cable.
Huh?
Or I saw one critic say something to the effect of, it's trying its hardest to be the dad movie it wants to be.
Does it want to be a dad movie?
I mean, kind of. Like a dad.
I guess it,
Your dad walks in and folds his arm, doesn't sit down on the couch, just
Right.
watches for an hour type of thing,
Yeah.
That type of
Yeah.
movie.
Okay, yeah.
But it literally becomes like a movie about parenting
For a while.
for a while, yeah. And I like that. In fact,
And then we've got the twist ending.
something I think is funny, just personally, he is He likes everything clean. It needs to be clean. Oh, by the way, if there's sound in the background, those are students. We're at the high school.
Oh yeah, we're back. We're back. Recording while the
esports team is over there playing.
So.
My brother's like, "What was that sound?" I was like, "Oh, that's just students."
Yeah.
We're not in our little booth.
Yeah,
you can
our
call it a
high-tech recording facility.
Our closet, basically.
Shh.
Oh yeah.
They think it's a high-tech facility.
Right. Okay. I think it's funny that he's so clean, but then he smokes.
And he smokes, yeah.
But smoking to me is like so dirty.
Yeah.
So it's just backwards to me.
Right. But I think that's a super good choice because it highlights the mental disorders, I guess we'll call them, are not logical.
Yeah.
They don't follow, they're just internally logical. So he's got his, like the carpet, like take your shoes off, don't mess up the carpet. That's internally logical for him, but smoking is also internally logical.
Yeah.
And so by adding something, like you said, that's a very dirty habit, generally speaking, to this guy that's so clean, I think it just reinforces, he's not quote-unquote normal, whatever that means, by our standards, but he is by his own. Mm-hmm. Even though he recognizes that he's got problems.
Yeah.
I think everything about, especially that, like you said, the first act of this movie is just like creating Nicolas Cage's character without saying, well, he's really messed up, he's this, he's that. We like internalize it rather than being told. So I don't know.
No,
I like the fact that he smoked. And every time that he's smoking, I'm like, dang, that was a messed up dude. Because if somebody walked into that room with the dirt on their shoes, he'd freak out. But, he's smoking. Like, I don't know. I love this movie. So, anyhow,
there's a sentence that Sam Rockwell says that made me laugh. Does a pope poo in the woods? Like,
can't you just say yes or no?
Verbatim, that's what he says.
Yeah.
I love it when Nic Cage goes off and does extra Nic Cage.
Yeah.
There's one part where he's like tweaking out, I suppose, and the guy, and it like, he's trying to get more pills, and he goes, "Have you ever been taken to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?" He like yells it.
It's so funny.
And then, I forget what he says, but he says "Mon" at one point. "Come on, Mon," or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nicolas Cage being extra Nicolas Cagey, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. My favorite part is when Angela, his daughter, is sneaking back into the house. He hasn't been kind of freaking out. You don't know where she's sneaking in, and he's yelling at her. Like, he doesn't have a clue how to be a dad.
Yeah.
So he's like yelling and whatever. He's upset. And then she's like, well, at least I don't keep, I don't remember what she says, but cash and a gun and a dog in my house. And then, like, he's, like, he just doesn't know how to react to that as a father. So he's like, that's wrong what you did. You're a nosy Parker. That's no way to behave. Like, he just, and like at any point he could have stopped, but he just keeps going. Like, I was laughing that whole time because he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but that was naughty. Shame on you. And then he walks out. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, and
I love Nicolas Cage.
I think
now, in this time period.
Oh, we'll talk about Nicolas Cage here in a little bit.
So
I think you're wrong, but in a way you're not thinking of, I think. But, okay, so I love how you don't need to understand the con to know what's going on.
Right.
Like, you don't need to know the specifics of how they're getting money out of this con. I mean, you could figure it out. But you, like, I was like, I don't know all the details here. Money being transferred, it doesn't matter. The movie doesn't need that to make sense for the movie to work.
Right.
It's really good on the movie's part.
So my wife is a special education teacher, professional, and so she actually watched this one with me. And at one point I asked, like, how's he doing? Like, Nicolas Cage at being somebody who's got Tourette's and who's OCD. And she's like, yeah, he's very credible at it. And I think
it's the eye twitch.
Yeah, like all of it is so good. So I legitimately think that this character and this movie is some of Nicolas Cage's very best acting, because he sells it completely. Like if you didn't know that he didn't have OCD and Tourette's, like you wouldn't know that. Like
Yeah.
I totally bought it. I love his initial conversation with the psychiatrist,
Yeah.
where he's trying to, get around being there and trying to get the pills and all of this. I love the chemistry between Sam Rockwell and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I did too.
Very, very organic.
And we'll when we get to like the ending, and actually I feel like it's part of my problem with this movie,
Okay.
if I'm being honest.
Okay. Well, I don't have any problem with that, because I love, like, it's so carefully plotted and carefully laid out. Like, you can watch it, you get to the thing, and you're like, oh, crap, really? And you go back and watch it, and it's seated all the way through the movie.
I don't know
Okay.
if that is the case.
Okay.
But
So we can talk about
should we just jump
it.
into it?
Yeah, because if we're going to dance around it, let's stop the dance.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, or the last third, the guy they scammed, he found them.
Wait, what guy?
The guy that they were scamming the money out of.
Okay. So he's super.
Oh.
He figures out the scam, comes after Nicolas Cage and
Yes.
his daughter.
And then he meets them at Nicolas Cage's house.
Yeah.
And the daughter knew where the gun was. Classic Chekhov's gun. There's a
Yep.
gun, you gotta use it somehow.
Yep.
So she shoots him.
The guy that got scammed.
Right, and so Nicolas Cage tells Sam Rockwell's character, take my daughter and go. I shot him. I'm going to take him to the hospital. I'm trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
He gets knocked out. The guy wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Wakes up in a hospital. The
Yep.
cops are around him.
Yep.
We know, we've been watching you. Tell us everything. And he's like, let me talk to my psychiatrist. Tells the psychiatrist what's going on.
How to get into his safety deposit box.
Yes.
Where he's got all his money so that his daughter can get it.
And then come to find out, hospital's not real. FBI agents aren't real. His psychiatrist wasn't real. Sam Rockwell scammed him.
His daughter wasn't his daughter.
His daughter wasn't his daughter.
Yeah. Sam Rockwell scammed him. He leaves him a little love note.
Yeah, leaves him $100.
Yep, $100.
And then, but since Nicolas Cage wanted to get out, he does still step out, becomes a carpet salesman.
Yep.
Which, by the way, is probably good business, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
We went to go buy carpet last summer, and the guy said, I can't... We mentioned that my father-in-law knows how to lay carpet. It's like, I'll hire him on the spot. Is he available?
Yeah.
It's like, nope. Like, I can't get enough people to get all this carpet out.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, he's doing okay.
Yeah.
And he starts a new life with the cash register girl. Oh, he sees his fake daughter.
They have a little heart to heart.
They have a little heart-to-heart, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then...
What's not to love? Come on.
Okay, so I guess there's one question that maybe isn't clear. Was she, the daughter, and Sam Rockwell planning together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everyone was.
Here is my problem. And I guess I've only seen this once, but I didn't see any seeds being planted. I don't think it makes sense for Sam Rockwell to do that to Nicolas Cage.
Why?
Because I think they're thick as thieves. They have a good thing going, even if Nicolas Cage has his weird antics. They're still... And he can't count on Nicolas Cage to not be going off one of his episodes
Right.
and everything. But I don't think it's indicated that there's something else in the back of his mind. Because he's like, oh, let me call him.
Okay.
All right.
Finish. Sorry. I keep interrupting.
Because, like, ultimately, like, I think, I mean, once again, maybe I missed it, but that the partner angle is strong. Like,
Sure.
not like sneaky or anything. It's to the point where, like, yeah, here, take an extra $40,000 because of that. And that's like, that, I guess to me, it's like, yeah, that's the clearest indication that this isn't anything else. But the movie feels like it wanted to make an exciting ending. Because it is exciting. I'm not saying it's not exciting, but I guess now it becomes a classic. What genre is Ocean's 11 in, I suppose?
Yeah, that genre.
It's like the classic con man genre. You can almost count on a double cross at the point. It's like any genre film, like rom-coms, you know what's going to happen. Sports films, you know what's going to happen. And espionage, you don't know how it's going to happen. That's why it's fun. Ocean's 11, you don't know how it's going to work out, but you know it will. And I feel like it falls into that genre when it becomes not the parent thing anymore.
Right.
And I don't think it worked for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I pitch it?
Go for it.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I love this movie is exactly what you just laid out. Mm-hmm. So it has enough genre bending and like bringing in of other genres that we don't ever have the clear sense, oh, this is just a standard con man pick. Right? Flick or whatever we want to use. It's not that because Ridley Scott keeps it like all of these different aspects are woven in so that when we get to the double cross, like first time I watched this, I legitimately had to pause it and like there's no way that that's what happened. But on a rewatch and a re-rewatch, it's all there. It's seated. So Sam Rockwell betraying him is seated very early, and I think it's seated often. He's not happy with the nickel dime stuff. He's not like, and Nicolas Cage, that's what he wants to do. He wants to take it slow, methodical. We steal a couple grand from this guy, couple grand from this guy. Sam Rockwell doesn't want that. He wants the big payoff. And he wants to go to wherever. We get that from the very first con that they pull. Yeah. And like he wants to do the con with the
boat
what is
guy.
His name?
I'll look
the
it
boat
up.
guy. Yeah, they want to do the con with the boat guy.
In the movie, it's Chuck Frechetta.
Yeah, Chuck.
But Bruce McGill is the actor.
We're just gonna say Chuck. He wants to do this con with Chuck because he wants a buttload of money. He's asking, and Nic Cage is like, no, I don't want to do a big con, a long con. I want to keep it short, keep it simple. So I feel like it's seeded from the very beginning. And so the partnership, even though on the surface it's good, and for Nic Cage it's good, I feel like Sam Rockwell's not happy with it. He's learned a lot from Nic Cage. Nic Cage is kind of took him under his wing, taught him the ropes of cheating people and whatever. And Sam Rockwell, I feel like early on, again, like he's learned all he can learn from Nic Cage. He sees this big score. Nic Cage, I don't even know how much money was in that box, but it's a buttload of money in that box. His safety deposit box. He sees this big score. He knows all of this stuff about Nic Cage, all of his weaknesses, and he comes up with the perfect con for this one guy because he knows him so well. You don't have to like it.
I don't feel like, I think some of that is subtext though.
That I put into it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I can see that. I just don't. I'm trying not to just see it as like an optimist point of view, but at the same time, but these guys were partners. Like these guys, thick as thieves, essentially.
Yeah.
They were
thick as thieves.
I don't know. To me, that's still the one part where.
So you want the purity of you're my friend, so you're not going to do anything bad to me.
But it's not just that. Like, what about if here take extra $40,000? Sam Rockwell could have looked like off to the side or something, or down, like a little bit of guilt, stuff like that would have gone.
But he's not that guy. He doesn't have
But
guilt.
if he wasn't Sam Rockwell, I don't think it would have even worked a little bit.
Right. That's why they put Sam Rockwell there.
Yeah.
Because he's always that guy.
Yeah, he is. Because he's not. Afrod Beetlebrox is a couple years away. Zaphod Beetlebrox is a couple years away.
Yeah. He's totally that guy. Okay, we can agree to disagree.
I mean, I don't know. Let us know if the twist works for you.
Yeah,
listener,
that'd be really interesting.
Because I was basically enjoying it. I'm like, oh, I think this is not an insult, but it's like just a flash out of nowhere type of twist type of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
To me,
it was also a flash out of nowhere. So that's like, I watched it. I think I might have just started the movie over again the first time I watched it.
Just to double check.
To look and see. I don't know. I love these kind of movies that bend or mix genres that aren't usual. Like, I've never seen another con man / father, parent, whatever movie.
Yeah.
So, the girl, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah.
She sells
Yeah, how old is she?
Well, she's in the movie, she's 14.
Supposed to be.
But then we see her a year later, and she's like,
she's like,
right.
I'm not 14.
Right, she's an adult.
Yeah.
And she was an adult when she was playing his daughter. So
here's the thing. I was suspicious of the psychiatrist immediately because he puts his foot up.
Yeah.
But he later tells us it's a trick. But he's like just smoking his pipe. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but this guy's... But I was like, this movie's about manipulation.
Yeah.
It's all about how they manipulate these people.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you, what are examples of good manipulation? Because that's what, at the time, the psychiatrist was doing.
Right.
It's like, these are fake pills. So, yeah, you didn't need them.
Uh-huh.
So, like, are there any other examples you can think of what's a healthy or a good example of manipulation?
I don't think the manipulation is ever healthy or good. Persuasion could be. I don't know.
Because he was manipulating him.
Oh, yeah. Everyone in this movie is manipulating everyone else in this movie.
But he was right that he didn't need the pills, and he was helping him see that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in... did you ever see the King's Speech?
Yeah.
Trying to get the king to get over his stutter.
Right.
And then he's like, why should I listen to you? Because I have a voice. Like, yes, you do. And it's like, I had to trick you.
So is that manipulation?
I
guess it could be.
I guess it is.
I guess then good manipulation is it would depend on the motivation of the manipulator.
Yeah, because you have twice as many kids as I have. You ever had to you ever had to help a child with something like, I don't know.
So reverse psychology?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's manipulation too. Okay. So I guess it would depend on the motive.
Uh-huh.
If I'm manipulating you for my benefit or for your benefit. That's a good... I had never thought of that.
Because before we find out he's in on it, that's what he did to Nic Cage.
Oh, the psychiatrist?
Yeah. I had to help you realize
yeah.
You don't need the medicine. But, like, the daughter was helping him change. That's some good, like, he steps on the carpet type of thing.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Sam Rockwell is, like, seeing him change and is happy for him. That's what I mean.
Maybe.
I mean, that's part of it. I'm like, I don't think it works for me. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I had never thought of manipulation as possibly a good thing. I'll have to think about that more.
Because the manipulation, the word has negative connotation.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, if it's for their benefit, not your benefit, like you said, that's...
Yeah.
Is it...
Mind expanded.
So I was wondering if you had, like, raising your kids, helping a child get over an issue, or not being afraid of the dark, or learning to swim or something, or whatever.
Nothing comes to mind, but...
Yeah.
That's interesting. I literally never thought of that.
Because the movie, you're right, they're all tricking each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was... There's a deliberate way of saying, like... Here's the healthy version of it, type of thing.
Huh. Cool. That makes it even better. I never thought of that.
Okay, I brought something. So before we found out that it's not his daughter,
yeah.
I just finished reading Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point. And this isn't the second one. This is the original one.
So Malcolm Gladwell is one of my intellectual crushes, just so you know. So if you're listening and you want your mind to be expanded beyond its boundaries, Malcolm Gladwell's the guy. Yeah. I love him.
He's got, like, the best podcast ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, if you are a Malcolm Gladwell hater,
You're wrong.
We don't care.
Wait, who hates Malcolm Gladwell?
He's an easy target for a lot of people.
Why?
It's like, essentially it boils down to he doesn't prove his points and he uses arguments to prove something that it wasn't intended to, stuff like that.
Oh.
He uses arguments for his benefit, not whatever. But I was like, I want to come to this podcast episode. I wanted to Malcolm Gladwell it, meaning I wanted to have something that seemed like it was way over there, and then like, oh, he brought it back in. And I thought the best way to do it was just reading Malcolm Gladwell. Okay, so before we find out the daughter is not his, I was like, but look how similar she is to him. She's picking that up right away.
Yeah.
How to con people, how to manipulate people. And I'm like, I was like thinking, oh, there was a chapter in that book about children and being raised and like what did we get from our parents versus like being adopted parents, like where you get your person from, like who you are. So I'm just going to read a little bit from the book. Okay. One of the largest and most rigorous studies of this kind of example is known as the Colorado Adoption Project. In the mid-1970s, a group of researchers at the University of Colorado, led by Robert Plomin, one of the world's leading behavioral geneticists, recruited 246 pregnant women from the Denver area who were about to give up their children for adoption. They then followed the children into their homes, giving them a battery of personality and intellectual tests at regular intervals throughout their childhood, and giving the same sets of tests to their adoptive parents. For the sake of comparison, the group also ran the same set of tests on a similar group of 245 parents and their biological children. For this comparison group, the results came out pretty much as one might expect. On things like measures of intellectual ability, the certain aspects of personality, the biological children are fairly similar to their parents. For the adopted kids, however, the results are downright strange. Their scores have nothing whatsoever in common with their adoptive parents. These children are no more similar in their personality or intellectual skills to the people who raised them, fed them, clothed them, read to them, taught them, and loved them for 16 years than they are to any two adults taken at random off the street. So, I'm going to do what people accuse Malcolm Gladwell of doing and using that information to my own benefit.
Do it.
Meaning,
that's what information's for.
So, like, if kids were raised by their biological parents, they're more like their parents. But if they were adopted, even as babies, they don't really resemble their adoptive parents. So, what I took from that, what I think he's saying from that it doesn't matter who raises you, your biology is specific. Like, you are who you are.
Biologically.
And if you're religious, you could even say, like, your person is your person because that's how God made you, type of thing. Mm. Is that fair to say? Sure. Yeah. So I was thinking, like, she is like her dad in this movie, even though he didn't raise her. That's how strong, like, your genes are, who you are. I believe we are all individual. And I have little kids, and I can testify my 5-year-old is vastly different than my 3-year-old, Yeah. And we raised both of them, and they are so different. Yeah. And I think it's very possible that you can not be with the person who gave birth to you, but you can still have things that you didn't even know came from.
So does your 5-year-old and your 3-year-old both have things that came from you?
Well, I try my hardest to get them to like the things I like. But no,
that's less genetic than...
Yeah.
Yeah, like all 6 of my kids are very different from each other. And from my wife and I. Yeah. It's interesting.
So, but it does play, like the book goes in to say, like, the results strongly suggest that our environment plays as big, if not bigger, a role as hereditary in shaping personality and intelligence. Right. So she's being raised by a single mother with rotating boyfriends. She's going to get into manipulating people or even, like, just wanting someone to latch onto.
Yeah. So does that strengthen or weaken the movie?
Well, then you find out it's not. Mm-hmm. She's just playing him the whole time. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't play into the movie at all, I think.
So it doesn't strengthen it or weaken it?
Well, the parent section, like you said, there's, like, portions of this movie. Right. The crime con man movie, the the parent single dad movie, and then the twist ending movie.
Yeah.
The middle section, it plays strongly into that part.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we are super alike. Really, it's because she
is a con person just like him.
But in reality, who raises you and your environment greatly affect you.
I think we can outlive our environments. I mean, I'm a very different parent than my parents were, in large part because I made specific choices to be different.
Yeah.
Cool. We should work Malcolm Gladwell into more episodes. That was good.
I'm going to try to Malcolm Gladwell as a verb more often.
Cool. So you already mentioned some of the film studies stuff, the lighting and the editing. Are there other things that you wanted to bring up?
I thought it was interesting, the musical choices. I mean, it's like Frank Sinatra, and it's all mostly diegetic. Like, you hear it, and then you find out later they're listening to that song, like the characters are listening to that song. Anyway, I can't remember the specific songs, but usually a movie plays a song because it ties in directly to like the plot or what the character's thinking and stuff. Yeah. I feel like the old-timey literal records might indicate Nicolas Cage's old school. Yeah. You know, maybe he doesn't want to change, and that's part of the subtext there and stuff. So
cool. Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Why did she act like a 14-year-old that was his daughter when he wasn't even there, you know? We saw her there.
What did she do?
She opens up his underwear drawer, messes it up, takes out all his records. They're all in the... I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I guess that's a good point. Maybe she's just naturally curious.
I mean, maybe she needed to understand him better as a target, you know?
Maybe she's doing research on her John.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I picked this movie right now on purpose because following our last episode where we talked about the philosophy of the Force, I feel like this movie is a perfect example of the dark side of the Force. This is what happens. Oh, cool. This is how you live if you are completely living according to the philosophy of the dark side of the Force.
Yeah.
So we've got basically life without ethics.
Yeah.
So we've got Nietzsche's will to power. Every person in this movie has that, is driven by that. I want power, largely in the form of I want money.
Yeah.
But that's what drives it. So this is what life looks like when we allow the will to power to drive everything that we do.
Yeah.
Machiavelli, whatever you have to do to get whatever it is you want, that's this movie. So everyone in this movie is doing ethically horrible things to everyone else in this movie so that they can get what they want. Machiavelli says, go for it. That's a dark side of the Force. If I have to kill an entire planet to make my point, I'm going to do it. And then Sun Tzu, know your enemy. So this is where Nicolas Cage fails in this movie. That's why he fails, because he fails to remember the first rule of war, which is know your enemy. Yeah. He assumes that some people in this movie, actually everyone in this movie, is not his enemy. If Sun Tzu were coaching Nicolas Cage, he would be like, no, there are no friends.
Yeah.
You know everyone and and if he would have done that, the serendipitous showing up of this kid that he's never thought of or even, would have been a red flag. Anyhow, so he doesn't know Sam Rockwell. We don't actually know how long they've been together.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I wish there was more Sam Rockwell stuff.
Yeah. So, Sam Rockwell is our, emperor character. He is successful. He knows his enemy.
Yeah.
He's willing to do anything, even like the objection that you have, betray this deep, rich friendship that he has because of his will to power. So if you want another example of how does the dark side of the Force look like as a way of life, this is it.
See, if he would have said at the beginning a sentence like, I'll do anything to get the big score, like, oh, he's going to betray him right away.
Right,
like,
but they don't. Why would you want that?
I know, that would make it worse.
Right, why would you want that?
I know.
I don't know. You don't have to love it. I love it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not, whatever. Anyhow. So ethically, again, like I said, this is life without ethics. This is what it looks like when the only... Actually, it's not life without ethics. This is life in a Darwinian ethics world. Everyone is out for themselves.
Yeah.
If I can get it, if I can do it, if I can manipulate it, if I can steal it, stab it, whatever, and I come out on top, it was right. And so, Sam Rockwell, that's his ethical school. Darwinian ethics. If I win, it was right. So, if you ever want to know what life looks like without ethics, what life looks like on the dark side of the force, I think this is a fantastic movie.
That reminds me. There's, I guess it's I don't know if it's a subgenre, but the crime doesn't pay genre of crime movies. Crime actually used to be one of the big genres that has died down. Like even in the 20s and 30s, crime, mobster, gangster was like one of the biggest. And now it's essentially, it doesn't exist. It's just, it got adopted into thrillers essentially. But there's a subgenre called like crime doesn't pay, where these criminals, that's what I mean, like the genre tropes from earlier. That's what I probably should have said. It's just, they're living life now, but something's going to happen or else it's not an interesting story. So other movies could include, I found just one list. Movies that have crime and then they keep wanting the next big thing, but they can't do it because crime doesn't pay. Include, but are not limited to, movies like Heat, Pulp Fiction, or No Country for Old Men, Hell or High Water. List has
all of those are
Drive,
great.
Point Break, Baby Driver. But the thing is, you wouldn't want a movie where nothing happens. You need drama. You need something to make it interesting.
But even if we put this in that subgenre, it subverts that because it does pay.
I know.
Sam Rockwell
it does,
makes bank.
But not for the daughter, though.
Right. And so we've got Ridley Scott pushing the boundaries of this genre. Like, Sam Rockwell gets paid. Like, he could go retire somewhere, wherever, and live the rest of his life with how much money he just made. So I've got a couple of quotes that I want to
go for it,
for us to play around with. Angela, who is Nicholas... Why don't I know Nicolas Cage's character, but I know her. Anyhow.
His name's Roy Waller.
Roy, that's right. So Angela is Roy's daughter. And when he's very first, quote-unquote, coming clean to his daughter about what he does, Angela says everyone does something bad in their lives. If you make it a career, it's just a bunch of somethings. What do we think about that? Like, it's just this one bad thing that you did. That doesn't make you a bad person, is kind of what she's aiming at. So do we buy that? I
guess that quote makes me think of legitimate businesses that feel like crime. Like, let's say Amazon, for example. We could tackle Amazon. They make billions every second. Like, Amazon will literally bleed younger or smaller companies dry because they can, and it's technically not against the law because it's business. Right. That's what that makes me think of. It's
so they can undersell.
Yeah. That's what they did. I forgot where I learned this, but diapers.com used to be the place for diapers. Amazon got super cheap, literally ran them out of business, and then as soon as that happened, boop, now they're back. Diapers are expensive again. Yeah. The world is kind of a cruel place. Yeah. At times. It's easy to say it's just getting worse. The news doesn't make it seem positive, but there's good things in life. I don't want it to seem like
a lot of good things.
We're going to hell in a handbasket, but if you analyze things that people say, like, this is just a job, and I think that's true. Con man's just a different type of job.
So, like, if we put it, like, what you were just saying, like, in terms of the guards of Nazi prison camps, that's what they said. I was just doing my job. So does that make it okay? Or it's just a series of this one bad thing and then this one bad thing?
Yeah, I think it...
Do we pile up to...
It gets piled
I'm a
up
bad
where...
person?
I think with the Nazi thing, it got piled up slowly over time and probably since childhood for a lot of them, where they don't even know that it's bad at that point. Like, it's not even...
So they didn't become bad people. There was just a bad thing that they did over and over.
I don't know. I guess even stepping away from the Nazi stuff, a lot of people just want to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I think certain people that want to make as much money as possible might feel bad at first, but like, oh, this is just the rules of the industry or the rules of the game or whatever.
So do they ever become a bad person, or do they just do bad things?
I think, let's define bad, Dr. Dietz. Like, if other people are suffering because of it, if people are
so then
gaining
Amazon is
from
bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I use Amazon all the time because it's...
So are you a bad person for using the service of a bad company?
Well, am I... No, I'm not bad because it's become basically the only option. You know?
Yeah.
It's... I don't know if that's a good argument, though.
Well, I mean, I didn't prep you at all for this little, little ambush.
I guess something is bad when people benefit off of other people's suffering.
Yeah.
I guess this is how we're using it right now.
So if I'm benefiting off of your suffering, I am a bad person, or I'm doing bad things?
Both.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference there?
I don't know. Angela draws a distinction.
Oh.
She's trying to convince Nicolas Cage's character he's not a bad person. He just does bad things. So, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. You're right. It's semantics. It's all about semantics.
Yeah.
I don't think people set out to be bad. Like, they don't get up one day and they're like, I'm going to be an evil person. And so it's always interesting. Like, we do this all the time in my dual enrollment classes. Like, where is the line between I'm doing bad things and I'm a bad person? At what point does that happen?
Yeah.
And we don't have to answer that, but like, if you're listening, it's a really interesting thought experiment. How many bad things do you have to do before you become a bad person? Or do you ever, or whatever? Anyhow, I thought that was cool. Yeah, I think if you, well, okay, so my opinion, since we're not in a classroom and I can have an opinion.
Yeah.
I think if you know it's bad and you choose to do it anyway, that makes you, for that moment, a bad person. Now, you can, repent, whatever, but so I would think being a bad person or a good person is not a destination, but a journey. So you make a bad choice on purpose, you move down towards, being a bad person.
Yeah.
You can change it. And so I think in our lives, it's not about individual choices, it's about the slope of our lives. So if we are generally moving and making good choices, sacrificing, building people, whatever, so it's about the slope, not about any individual choice.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll see people on the news today doing a bad thing, and you're like, how does this person get to that point where they don't even feel bad or whatever?
Yeah.
Or even like just breaking into cars or stealing things off of porches,
Yeah.
It's easy. That's why it's there, but they choose to do it.
Well, it's easy, and then another concept that we go over and over in my dual enrollment class, the idea of othering. Like the other. Like that person that I'm going to steal from is other to me. They're not me. They're not part of my group. So they're kind of less of a human being than I am.
Yeah.
Because they're part of this other group. So it's okay if I take their stuff.
Or what's interesting example of othering is when the other is a corporation.
Sure.
So like, or I don't know, steal some McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Like back when I was your age, pirating music and pirating movies.
How dare you?
Right. The rationale there was, okay, these people are millionaires. They're not going to just one song, one movie. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Othering is the root of all evil.
Crime, I guess.
No.
Crime does pay.
That's the opposite of what I'm saying.
What? They made $80,000 in one job. That sounds pretty good. Joking. Yeah. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I got it all backwards.
Wrong. No, I genuinely feel like the source of most of the problems in our world comes back to that one concept. of othering. Like, they're not as important as I am, therefore I can do this stuff. That's where bad things and bad people, if there is such a thing, comes from. It's just that one idea. I can do this thing to you because you're other to me.
And I think social media makes people racist.
Oh, yeah.
And makes people... It highlights othering.
Yeah, it foments othering for sure. Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay, so the other ethical thing I thought was interesting is Nicolas Cage says, I'm not a criminal. They give me their money. Does that hold up? If they... Because he's not stealing, technically, by the definition. In order to be a thief, you have to go in and take something away from someone.
You know what? I could make the same argument for doctors. Doctors are basically criminals.
Because why?
You go in for something, and here's hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They didn't steal it, but they're getting the money anyway.
But you get something in return,
yeah, a
right?
big paycheck. I mean, a big bill is what I get.
You get to not die. I don't know. So
no, that argument doesn't hold.
Like, I just think it's interesting. We were talking about rhetoric earlier.
Yeah.
And semantics. This is, I think, maybe another way to know if you're on the downward slope is you start using semantics to justify whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay. I have a hilarious example from a TV show.
Hit it.
In Barry, Barry's a hitman that wants to become an actor. Okay. And it goes all sorts of places, and it's funny and it's dark and stuff. But there's an episode where he becomes super religious, but then he wants to kill this guy. I forget even why. So he's like listening to podcast after podcast, trying to find justification. So he listens. I don't know how many, but like then he finds one. Where it's like, yeah, you gotta take matters in your own hand, even if take whatever it is. He's like, yeah, okay. Even though he had to like listen to like however many to get to that point.
That's funny.
But yeah, like you quote unquote bad guys will find the rhetoric that they need to justify their actions.
Yeah. So that might be a red flag. If you're looking for a red flag, are you using language to justify or manipulate the meaning of whatever it is that you're doing?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you want to battle about Nicolas Cage's downward slope of his acting career in recent years.
Okay, this is why you're wrong.
Okay,
I actually asked our lovely Twitter followers.
Oh, nice.
We're at... hold on, I don't even know what our profile is called. We're at Desert of Reelpod because someone took Desert of the Real Pod and then hasn't been active for I don't know how long. I asked Nicolas Cage, hasn't been good in about 10 years. Do you agree? Not that a lot of people voted, but 45% said he's always been good. 9% agreed with you. Something's been missing. And then another 46% said it's been a mixed bag. So, good.
Okay.
Okay, this is why you're on.
So, wait. So, 45% agree with you.
Yeah.
And then 55%
No,
agree
9% with you with an asterisk there. Okay, Nicolas Cage.
That's how you use rhetoric to frame. Okay. Anyway.
Nicolas Cage. Oh, he's been an actor in 123 things. Not all of them are movies, you know.
Not all of them are good.
No. Okay, so here's what I mean, though.
Okay.
So just like Ridley Scott, he's been in movies that have been classics, you know, like the 80s and 90s. Whatever.
80s, 90s, yes.
Let's go find some of these.
Indeed.
Okay, a lot of movies. I like Peggy Sue Got Married. I don't know if that's like one of the iconic ones. A movie I admittedly have not seen, Raising Arizona.
So good.
But it comes up in a lot of people's...
So good. Moonstruck is very good.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of movies that aren't the best down here. Like
Where?
Vampire's Kiss, you know that ones?
No, I haven't seen that.
I'm a vampire. Anyway.
The movies that you know Nicolas Cage
he's got
are here.
In the middle 90s.
Guarding Tess. Amos and Andrew. It Could Happen to You. He's great in that. The Rock, I don't really care
Rock
for, but
is good.
okay. Con Air, I love. Face Off, I would love if it wasn't so stupidly absurd at its foundation. Snake Eyes, 8mm.
I haven't
Gone in 60 Seconds.
So that's
The Family
okay.
Man.
Yeah, pause.
Like, this is just bam, 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 bam. One amazing movie after another.
Okay, so I think the 2000s were actually he's been doing 2 movies a year for
A long time.
since dang. Okay, never mind.
prolific.
That argument. He's making multiple movies every single year.
Yep.
However, I need to shout out Adaptation from 2002. That movie's so good. And it's so weird.
Nic Cage.
Because he's playing the writer of the movie, writing the adaptation of a book, and it's just and he plays him and the twin. Okay, National Treasure.
Yep.
Good movie.
Lord of War.
We watched that on this podcast.
We did.
Okay, so when does he fall off?
All right.
Is it Wicker
Ghost
Man?
Rider, maybe. This might be when he starts. So Ghost Rider, not that great.
Nope.
The acting, no. Okay. Next, however, I actually really like. So probably right around here is when he starts falling off.
Okay, 2007 is next.
Right. Well, that's where we're at. 2007. So 2009, we have such masterpieces as G-Force and Astro Boy. Not that great. Knowing, however, is pretty dang good. I like Knowing a lot. 2010, we have The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is probably one of the biggest tragedies in film.
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, maybe.
It just doesn't
it's
exist.
not good.
All right, so...
But he also made Kick-Ass that year, which is actually really good.
It really is.
So...
Okay, so... All right.
Okay.
I'm seeing here the next movie that Man. Yeah.
Right. See?
Okay, but-
that you're making my point.
No, I haven't made my argument yet.
So we start 2010, you're scrolling down through these. Is there a single movie from 2010 to 2020 that you would say, this is a magnificent movie?
I have heard Mandy.
Mandy is...
You don't like Mandy.
I do not like Mandy at all.
A couple weeks ago, Jordan, he liked Color Out of Space.
Okay, that's 2019.
Okay, then...
Prisoners of Ghostland is terrible.
I've never even heard of that one. Okay, and I watched Pig 2021.
Okay.
Just because I've heard that movie's fantastic. It's good. Because you think it's going to be like John Wick. Oh no, they took his pig.
Geez.
But then it's nothing like John
Oh,
Wick.
well, maybe
It's
I'll
more
watch it.
about grief and loss in a quiet way, and he's incredible. So here's my argument.
Okay.
You're right. These movies, by all accounts, are garbage movies.
Yep.
These are like Redbox movies.
Yes.
They do not exist, but magically appeared in a Redbox one day.
Mm-hmm.
And now Redbox doesn't exist. So here's the thing, though. I would put money on you choose any of these movies. And the movie's bad, but I would bet Nicolas Cage is giving it his
Oh,
all.
yeah. Yeah, no argument there.
Well, I think that's the difference there. The movies might be garbage, but Nicolas Cage himself is putting 110%.
So you're playing
in.
semantics.
No, I'm not. I'm saying he's never been bad.
Okay. Okay.
There's actually
I will give you that.
there's a funny episode of Community where whatever the joke class is, they're arguing about Nicolas Cage. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he good? Is he bad? Like, it makes Albert go crazy because he's good and bad.
Right.
It's like, so what is he?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think we could find middle ground, but that's the middle ground.
I
will
can't
give you
believe
that.
you didn't like long legs. I thought that was super
didn't-
creepy.
It wasn't creepy at all. I didn't.
Oh, really?
For me.
Maybe it's because I watched like an hour and then I fell asleep and had dreams about it.
Oh, that would make it creepy.
But I think Nicolas Cage is really good. He does
Okay.
that thing where he goes like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, he himself. So if we're just focusing on Nic Cage in that movie, yeah, he's great. The movie is not that great. So, okay, that's an interesting little trick play that you just ran. You have defeated me. I think you're right. I guess, yeah, okay.
But like, okay, like the...
So, like Willy's Wonderland is a Five Nights at Freddy's kind of rip-off thing.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
Where Nic Cage doesn't say a word in the entire movie. He's the main character. The movie itself, not that great. But the fact that he can pull it off...
Right, that's what I mean.
Okay,
like
all right.
Even like Pig, which is... He's like anti-Nick Cage. He's like quiet and reserved. Yeah. He's not doing the pissing blood or whatever. But then you get The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and it's making fun of that Nick Cage, you know?
I wish that was so much better.
I wish it was better, but it's fun to watch Nick Cage.
Yeah, I agree. So my argument wasn't okay. I'm gonna concede the argument to you. However,
okay, go on.
I think that we have to also admit, like you already did, that it has been a long time since Nic Cage made a movie that was an amazing movie.
Yeah, that's true. I think he has admitted he had some debts to pay off.
Yeah. So I think I would say, because I love Nic Cage, I think he's a magnificent actor. I think the last movie he made that I would say was amazing was Lord of War, 2005, that I've seen. And I've seen a lot of these movies. And so
you watch a lot of the movies that appear on Netflix out of nowhere.
I watch a lot of Nic Cage. I think he's a magnificent actor.
Besides Into the Spider-Verse, it looks
but he's not.
I know, it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
The highest rated one, man, he's got what's Jiu-Jitsu 2.9. Holy
Right,
moly.
He's making garbage. I don't know why. I guess he has debt to pay. We need to get back, Nick. I'm sure you're listening to this podcast.
Dream Scenario I also like a lot.
Please get more selective and give us back
out of the last
amazing
few years,
movies.
I didn't love Renfield, but Dream Scenario is my favorite in the last few years.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you are not going to like this.
What?
They're making a sequel to Lord of War called Lords of War.
Oh, jeez.
And he's in it. But Bill Skarsgård's in it? What?
Anyhow. Okay, well.
Wow, get ready for Lords of War.
That's stupid. Oh, Nick, stop! Okay. I mean, we're on a first-name basis.
We all are with
Nick
Nick
and
Cage.
Yeah. So, cool. Well, that was Matchstick Men.
Yeah.
Apparently a mixed bag. Ryan didn't like it nearly as much as I did.
Yeah, I didn't. But it's also like, it's not... Matchstick Men isn't like as well known as other ones, but it almost should be. Like, I feel like people just know about a lot of these movies, but Matchstick Men is one. If you've seen it, you know about it. But if you're like, Matchstick Men, what's that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist in the zeitgeist, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Anyhow.
But it's Ridley Scott, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, The Force Awakens.
See, why don't we just leave on this high note?
Okay, you know what? No, we'll save it for next week. You know what? I am so excited.
I am not.
I know you're not.
I actually fear that what's coming is going to reset my hatred
it might.
of...
But I'll say this. I have genuine love for a lot of it. I think there are people who are fundamentally wrong about the sequels.
Okay.
And I'm excited to walk through that with you.
For me to be one of those people.
I don't know, maybe, but we'll see. Because what is beyond exciting is you have no idea. You don't even have the faintest whisper. I wanted to show you a teaser trailer, which barely gives you anything, and you don't even want that. No.
All I know is Mark Hamill apparently comes back and plays something.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, that's all I know.
There's a lot to talk about next week. Buckle up.
Okay.
For a two-parter.
Maybe.
An hour of me just talking and then an hour of Dietz complaining.
That's what I do.
All right. Hey, we love you.
We do. Thanks for listening.
Watch Matchstick Men. Let us know.
Hopefully you already watched Matchstick Men.
Let us know if you liked the twist ending.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I would love to know.
Star Wars next.
Okay.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.